The Sinnoh region's gyms receive a lot of criticism for their non-adherence to type theming, but get less attention for how hard they might be. Today, I want to talk about Roark, one of Pokemon's toughest gym leaders. Now, this information might catch you off guard, since Roark isn't typically mentioned in the pantheon of tough gym leaders, but I assure you that Roark can pack a punch if given the chance to. I want to talk about what makes Roark so strong, and how speedrunners used every tool at their disposal to get around him in less than 30 minutes. Now, it's a cliche in Pokemon games that the first gym is a rock type, mainly to teach new players that normal moves cannot hit everything for effective damage. Roark's gym is no exception, and uses rock gym leader favourites Onix and Geodude. If Roark just had an Onix and a Geodude, he'd be a total pushover like Brock in Red. But he has a third Pokemon, Cranidos, which is a much bigger threat. Cranidos is a pure rock type, which is revived from the skull fossil. Fossils in Diamond and Pearl are found underground, and Roark's gym is in a mining town, so it makes sense for the gym leader to have one, unlike Falkner's level 9 Pidgeotto. What doesn't make sense is Cranidos' stats. Cranidos is a basic Pokemon fought early in the game, so like many other Pokemon, it's probably not too strong or anything, right? Totally wrong. Cranidos has a very uneven stat distribution, most of which is piled into attack. It has 30 of each special stat, 40 defense, which is really low for a rock type, and 58 speed. Pretty bog standard so far, but where it gets interesting is that Cranidos has 125 attack. 125! That is titanic. To give some context to how high an attack stat that is, let's take a look at this list of Pokemon that has the same or less attack than Cranidos. Mega Kangaskhan, Azelf, Gyarados, Mewtwo, every evolved starter, Arceus, the Origin Trio, Snorlax, the list goes on. So it's safe to say Cranidos is a crusher, a machine made of raw power and little else. But stats alone don't make a fight terrible. Unfortunately for us, Cranidos is equipped with the moves to match. Roark's Cranidos has Headbutt, Lair, and Pursuit. Headbutt is the source of all pain, at 70 base power. Most Pokemon at this point in the game don't have moves that are 50 base power, let alone 40% more than that. Looking at the moves in detail, a Lair then a Headbutt can drain most of your health. Lair is the amplifier for Cranidos' massive attack, and you should be fearful if you see it. Like I said, the crushing damage here comes from Headbutt. The second terror here is that Headbutt has a 30% chance to flinch. So if you are slower than Cranidos, you take massive damage and then also have a 30% chance to not be able to attack as well. Pursuit also deals about a third of your health if it uses it, putting you in Headbutt knockout range. Now, some context is needed for the Pokemon that speedrunners use, as it might not make sense to people at first glance. The speedrun uses Chimchar over the other starters Turtwig and Piplup. Turtwig is just not in the running, as Torterra is just too slow to serve as an effective main for the rest of the game. However, I would like to talk about Piplup a little bit more. You might naturally think that Piplup is the best choice with water's natural type advantage over rock types, and normally you would be correct. Even in the context of the whole run, water types are usually favoured since they pretty much always get access to a strong stab move in Surf. However, Piplup only gets Bubble in the early game, which has a measly 20 power, and even with the same type attack bonus and the type advantage, it still only comes out to 60 modified power. Not really enough to stand up to the might of Cranidos at a similar level. Speedrunners of this game saw this problem and came up with a very creative and cunning solution. Instead of looking at how Piplup might get stronger before Roark, or main switching, or doing anything else, they looked to Chimchar, the unlikely candidate. Fire types typically don't do well against rock types, and some people already use Empoleon for the Platinum run, so why not use that? Never mind all that, we need a monkey, and not only that, we need a very specific monkey. The strategy for beating Roark with the monkey is very unique, and involves using a very unique move. Hidden Power. Hidden Power is kind of bizarre, and since its introduction in Generation 2 has always been kind of bizarre. Hidden Power is a move with a unique type and power for each Pokémon. Not each use, mind you, the power and type is calculated depending on each Pokémon's IVs or individual values. This was changed in Generation 6. It is a TM in most games that it is in, and nearly every Pokémon can learn it, spare a small handful. To give an example of how Hidden Power works, you could catch a Starly, teach it Hidden Power from a TM, and it could be, say, 55 power Ice type. And then you could catch a completely different Starly and teach it Hidden Power, and it could be 35 power Fighting type. The power ranges between 30 and 70 power in Generation 4, and the move cannot be Normal type. I won't fully explain how it works here because it has a lot of kooky math stuff going on to figure it out, but in short, it rolls some numbers based on the last couple of numbers in your Pokemon's IVs, applies them to a type chart to determine the type, then does a similar thing with damage and does some multiplication of fractions, and bada bing, bada boom, you have Hidden Power damage. To cut to the chase, Chimchar uses Hidden Power to beat Roark. Rather than take chances on Hidden Power, speedrunners use RNG manipulation to always get a Chimchar that has A. very good stats, B. a plus speed nature, and C. has 69 base power grass type Hidden Power. 69 base power special moves tend to do very well against rock types, and that's exactly how beating Roark is done using the Fire Monkey. Having a plus speed nature Chimchar is essential to outspeeding the Cranidos and avoiding the flinch chance on Headbutt. Accounting for the stats of the Chimchar, the plus speed nature, and the near max power grass type Hidden Power, Chimchar has no issue knocking out the Cranidos in 3 hits. 1 for the first chunk of health, and 2 after Roark uses a potion. These choices make it quite a safe fight. But if you removed any of these variables, the Hidden Power, the speed, the generally good stats, you would have a terrible time. You might think the risk of this fight would be super effective rock type moves, but Cranidos does not have any, and it does not need them. Headbutt is bad enough all on its own without Lair or Pursuit, and if it was its only move, it would likely still be terrifying. There is one variable about Roark's fight that I have not discussed so far, and that's that nearly every trainer in Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, not Platinum or Heart Gold and Soul Silver, has fully random AI. By fully random, I mean the AI basically clicks a move each turn on a whim, regardless of what that would mean. This makes it harder to plan for fights like Roark's, since you have no clue whether the AI is going to go for all headbutts and try and kill you, or whether it will use Lair 3 times and give you a free pass. In order to obtain Hidden Power, you have to fight 2 trainers at the trainer school in Jubilife City. This means that the monkey route actually uses a bit of time that, say, Piplup would not, but this time is made up elsewhere in the run, as Infernape can really outdamage Empoleon in the long run. Roark's Cranidos is just so powerful, and to my knowledge, few other first gym leaders are this terrifying. Brock is, as mentioned earlier, so easy that you can use his fight to swap and level up your Nidoran for the rest of your run. Faulkner is a certified weenie and has an illegal level 9 Pidgeotto, which makes him decidedly cringe. Roxanne is not a pushover with her nose pass, but the nose pass doesn't hit all that hard, it's just a bit tough to take down. Black and White's gym leaders strangely like to use workup for several turns, which is plenty of time for Lillipup to take them down. It goes on and on. No other gym leaders are sporting level 14 Pokemon with base 125 attack, and honestly, none probably will again. Roark's choice of Pokemon makes him uniquely strong for a first gym leader. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching. Tell me, did you ever get absolutely destroyed by the Cranidos, or did you use Turtwig and saunter past with a Razor Leaf critical hit? Let me know in the comments below.